The ATF is processing Form 4s at a record pace, getting those unconstitutional tax stamps down to almost 2 days from submission to being approved. Well, with that, the suppressor rush is on, and if you can find anything in stock, it's not always going to be what you're looking for. So I want to continue diving into different suppressors that I've had for a while to give you my opinions and reviews on them. And today we're going to take a look at the Dead Air Nomad 30. Now, before we get started, do I have any relationship with Dead Air? No. I bought this suppressor from Silencer Shop. I'm an SOT and FFL, so I did buy it at a discounted price, but I did pay my own money for it. And I've had it for a little over 2 years now, and I've had it on a host of guns. I've had it on a 6.5 Creedmoor Q fix. Funny story, Q was very unhappy when I did that and sent me an interesting message about why I should choose to put this Dead Air can on their Q instead of one of their Trash Pandas or Jumbo Shrimps or whatever. But anyway, I have had this on a Q fix in 6.5 Creedmoor. I've had it on a home-built 308. I've had it on a 7.62 Maxim PDX. I've used it on an 8.3-inch 300 Blackout from Evolved Weapon Systems. I've used it on a 10.5 Type A Mod 0 Mark 18 and other guns. So I've used it on quite a few different weapons with different calibers, barrel lengths, etc. So I feel like I've had enough time with it to give you my honest opinion. So first, let's talk about the good. And before we do that, I'm going to give a big shout out to Pewscience. If you don't know who he is, get over to his website. It's just pewscience.com. He reviews suppressors in an unbiased and completely scientific way. And he has done a review on the Nomad 30 and compared it to other suppressors that are out there. So unbiased reviews as far as comparisons, that's the place to go. I'll just give you my opinion. First off, it is pretty quiet. And by pretty quiet, I mean, if you look at all the reviews, it is mid-pack. Whether it's a bolt action or on the Mark 18, it is mid-pack in the bolt action and low mid-pack on the 308 bolt action. Now, that is in his overall composite sound signature review. There's also a lot of other things that play into what makes a suppressor a suppressor. There's flash reduction. There's signature, I don't want to say reduction, but signature changing so that you can't really hear where a shot is coming from. He doesn't have all of that data. He has the back pressure stuff. But when you're really just looking at a suppressor to make it quieter, it is mid-pack. Now, I will say it does rank higher than a lot of Dead Air's other products, like the Sandman, which I talked about before. This is definitely a quieter can in almost all situations that I've encountered than the Sandman S. However, I will say on 300 Blackout, it did not seem to me to be as quiet as the Thunder Chicken that I had. Now, caveat, it's two different weapon systems. I used this on the Evolve 8.3 and the Thunder Chicken was on a Honey Badger, so it's not really apples to apples, but still it wasn't quite as quiet as the Thunder Chicken. Next positive, pretty low back pressure. The way that I can tell you it is lower back pressure is just on my Mark 18, which has no adjustable gas system, same exact settings, same exact ammunition. You will see less gas coming through the system, but also when I put the Nomad 30 on it compared to the Sandman S or the Sandman K, you'll notice that the ejection pattern will go from, on the Sandman series, being way shooting forward at the 1, 2 o'clock, what people will consider overgassed. I know that's not always the case, but that's just an example of, you know, where the ejection pattern is. But when you put the Nomad S on it with the 30 cal end cap, it does bring the ejection pattern back to right around 3 o'clock. So that is definitely some Bubba science, but from that you can tell that it is putting less pressure back through the gas system. Another positive is that it uses the industry standard 1 3/8 by 24 thread pitch at the end of the suppressor here, where you can mount whatever direct thread adapters. I have a chemo adapter on here. I'll talk about that in a second. But if you don't want to use a chemo system or you don't want to use direct thread, Silencer Co. makes ASR adapters. I think pretty much every company makes a 1 3/8 by 24 adapter, so you can use this with pretty much any type of attachment system you want to, because it's universal. Also, you can swap out the end caps. I have the 30 cal end cap on here. You can put any of the compatible end caps on if you want to have the flash hider. They even have a brake that goes on at the end of the suppressor to help mitigate muzzle rise and whatnot. I have not tried that. Other people have said it's cool, but it is nice to have that modular ability to put more stuff on the end. And then finally, it is pretty durable. It has no barrel length restrictions per their website. So, I run it all the way down to 8.3 on 300 blackout, 10.5 inches, which is the shortest 5.56 gun that I'll run. And don't have to worry about that. And it is also full auto rated for those of you that have the fun switch. So pretty durable. I don't know if it would be as durable as the Sandman S with the Cobalt / Stellite baffles, but I've had many rounds through it, even shooting it on that real short PDX in 7.62, and have had no issues. So durability, it's worked very well for me. Now let's talk about the trade-offs. I'm not going to say negatives. I'm just going to say that there are trade-offs. Because this is a durable can, no barrel length restrictions, and it is made out of mostly stainless steel, it is a little bit hefty. They do say this is the Nomad 30. I know they have the titanium. They have other versions that are lighter. I'm just talking about the Nomad 30 here, but on the website, Dead Air says that it is 14.4 ounces, and you'll barely notice it on the end of your gun. Oh, okay. I don't know what that weight is weighing, whether that's just the suppressor itself without any type of direct thread adapter. With this chemo adapter and the 30 cal end cap, it comes out to just under 18 ounces, which is right there with that Sandman S. Now, this suppressor performs better than the Sandman S at nearly the same weight. So I would say that the trade-off is not necessarily that it's heavy, but it definitely performs the way it should, considering the size of suppressor it is. So it's not heavy, but it's not a super lightweight can either. Now, the last negative or trade-off, it might be specific to this suppressor, is the 1 3/8 by 24 threads. I don't know if they're out of spec or what, but even when I'm using a direct thread adapter, the 5/8 by 24 that came with it, when I would go to unthread the suppressor from the barrel, the suppressor would actually unthread from the barrel adapter, from the actual direct thread adapter, every single time. So I had to bring the wrench with me. There's a little wrench in the kit if I actually wanted to take this off. It's not really that big of a deal. It just made swapping back and forth when I was doing, testing difficult. I had the chemo adapter on for a lot of the time, and it just never would unratchet. So that made the chemo kind of useless. But I did find that the chemo itself with the Nomad 30 was more secure than using one of the direct thread adapters. That's why I've continued to use the chemo adapter with it. And I have the chemo on my Q-Fix. I have it on a 308. I have it on that 10.5 Mark 18 still. So I do swap this suppressor around quite a bit. And what I have done, maybe this is bad etiquette. Someone's going to spank me in the comments. But I did use some rock set on this chemo adapter to finally get it to stay. Even in the manual, Dead Air will say that when it heats up, it can come unthreaded, but I was never able to successfully get the can to stay on the chemo adapter without using rock set. So whatever, it's now permanently got this chemo adapter on it, and no big deal. So I'm going to keep this review short and get to the point. If you're looking for a suppressor you can use on a wide range of weapons, it is not crazy heavy. It performs well in all different categories, and isn't just crazy expensive, and is durable. the Nomad 30 is definitely my recommendation. In fact, I would probably recommend this as a first rifle suppressor for most people if they are only going to get one and be using it in a lot of different situations. If you have a dedicated setup for 5.56, if you have a dedicated setup where you want to have, you know, high flow, like a Huxworks can or whatever, there are other choices, but to have a universal, like, first suppressor used in a lot of different you know, cases, the Nomad 30 is a very, very good choice. I personally would probably go with the direct thread end caps as opposed to the chemo if you're not going to be swapping it when it's hot, but the chemo also works very well. Just bear in mind, you're going to be adding a few more ounces out at the end of your gun. So, Nomad 30, thumbs up.